and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. It's actually been a little while since I last recorded a podcast because I have been bulk recording them because I have had a busy past week because I've been in Germany, and then before that I've been at another horse show, and it's kind of just been like another one. But I am back. I am so excited to chat to you guys. I have so much to update you on. I have lots of interesting and entertaining stories as always, and we do actually have a few special guests in today's episode. But before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Redpost. Redpost is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, and they also ship all over the world. And I know I get lots of different questions about when my next meet and greet is, and it's not actually until the 23rd of August. It's on a Saturday, and that is actually going to be at Redpost in Devon in the UK. So if you want to come along, there is more information on my website, thisesme.com. You don't need tickets or anything like that. Just show up on the day within the times. Obviously, don't get there at 5 a.m. Nobody's going to be there. But also, a little thing that I wanted to chat about with Redpost is if you go and follow them on their Instagram, they do actually have a thing called Win It Wednesday. And by the time this podcast episode goes out, you're going to be too late for this one. But last week's one, they actually were doing Win It Wednesday for a pair of new Lemure tall riding boots. So go and follow them. Enter their Win It Wednesdays because they have some incredible prizes. But anyway, I just want to say another huge thank you to Redpost for sponsoring the podcast. Go and check them out at redpostequestrian.co.uk. And I was about to do the outro then. No, it's only the beginning. Sorry. Bear with me in today's episode because I'm running on fumes. Is that the phrase? It's been a busy time. I was going to do, today's episode is going to be a lot about my time in Germany, in Aachen, working at a horse show. I also got an award, which was very cool, which we'll talk about in a second. But first, I just realised I have one more horse show before that I went to, and that was Bolesworth. So little backstory to this. So, the first story, actually, you guys, I don't know why, but every time I mention my dad, you guys get really excited. I don't know what it is. Like, if you didn't know, my dad works for me full time for my, I was going to say video production company business. He's a social media girly. Anyway, so he works with me, comes to a lot of the horse shows, does the filming, is kind of like my manager, dadager, helps me out with admin, you know, the basic stuff. So anyway, we went to Bolesworth, which, if you don't know, it's up in Cheshire. I'm a South Coast kind of gal, so that is a long way. It is a long journey, so I don't do like loads of meetups or meet and greets up north. But this week we were like, okay, let's do the big drive. So Saturday, did the big drive up there and made sure, because we were put up in a relatively nice hotel, so thank you, Bolesworth. It had a swimming pool, so I was like, perfect, let's make the most of staying at a slightly fancier hotel, you know. So anyway, I was like, Dad, I want to go and use the gym. I want to go and use the pool. It was actually quite busy that weekend because I think our dinner reservation was for like 6:15, which, if you know me, I love an early dinner. Like, I am the sort of person where as soon as I get home from work, first thing I think about, the first thing I do is cook dinner. I am an early bird. Like, I love it early, getting up early and going to bed early. I'm a happy Esme. Anyway, so we didn't have enough time to do a proper long session. So I thought, we'll do a quick half an hour swim. Now, at this moment, I came to the conclusion or realised this is why I'm quite a competitive person. And you know where I get it from? I get it from my dad. So anyway, I was quite quick at speedy getting changed, jumped in the pool. I'd probably done maybe 2 lengths, I think, of the pool at this point. And of course was recording it on my watch, so I knew how far I'd done, all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to do 1,000 kilometers. Yeah, 1,000 kilometers. That sounds like 1,000 meters. The dyslexia is kicking in. I was going to say 1,000 kilometers. That sounds next level. Goodness me. Anyway, no, I did. I told you, bear with me. I'm a bit tired in today's episode. But you know what? Sometimes I feel like they're the most entertaining podcast episode where I'm a bit tired and delusional because I just go off topic and start rambling about something totally random. But anyway, back. 1,000 meters or 1 kilometer swimming, I can do pretty well in about 20 minutes. And that is breaststroke. The one where I feel just touch the mic then. The one where I feel like I'm a frog. If you know what I mean, when you're swimming and you feel like a frog, that's my go-to. Front crawl, it's great, but it wasn't hair wash day. I didn't really want to get my hair wet, so up in a top knot bun it was. And I was doing my swimming like a dog or like a frog. both. Anyway, I was swimming along, and this is when my dad came in. What did he decide to do? Bombs it, like literally jumps into the pool. There's a cannonball, splashes me, almost got my hair wet. I was not happy. And also, this was like quite a nice hotel as well. I was like, can't bring this guy anywhere with me. Anyway, and then he decides, you know what? I'm going to try and beat you. So, ripe old age of 53, he's swimming along, doing his front crawl, splashing. And anyway, about halfway through, he manages to catch up with me, which is, pretty good going. And then by the end, he was like, I want to win. He's looking at me right now. He's like, yeah, you're going to tell them all that that he was the winner. So yes, my dad did beat me, and he was really, he was gassing himself up. He was like, yeah, I'm so much older than you, not bad for an old man. And I was like, dude, we were doing two different like races here, because I was doing breaststroke, you were doing front crawl. I don't think that's a fair competition, if I'm being honest. So let me know in the comments, who do you think was the winner of the swimming race that I didn't even know that I was entered into. But anyway, tell you where I did beat him though, in the sauna. That man is not designed for heat. I mean, the Hicks family, we're probably not really designed for heat either, because all of my ancestors from one of those like DNA kit things I did like 5 years ago say that I'm from North Yorkshire, which is actually kind of true because I do have a lot of family out there. North Yorkshire, or basically I've got Viking DNA, so kind of like Finland, Scandinavian countries. I'm basically very English and very Scandinavian, so which is kind of true because I'm very pale and I'm not good with the heat, which also kind of ties into today's episode because it's been a hot week, it's been a warm one. So anyway, I beat him in the sauna. I did my 10 minutes. I did my time. My dad, he was in there for like 1 minute and was like, nah, not for me. Tapping out. No, thank you. When, as you guys know, I love going to my local gym. The main reason that I've been able to sit in the sauna for so long is because at my local gym, there is so much drama. So it sounds bad, but I just like sitting there listening to all the gossip, what's going down between all the locals in the gym. But anyway, so I'm quite good, in the sauna. I can handle it. So anyway, had our dinner, had a lovely night. And then next morning it was Bolesworth, where I had my meet and greet. And I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who came along to my meet and greet. You're all so lovely. And I always love meeting you guys in person because it's like meeting a friend that you never knew you had. And then you meet and you both have so much in common and love horses and that kind of thing. And for this meet and greet, we thought, you know what, let's do something a little bit different. Let's do something a little bit fun. Because I made these little profile pictures of the horses for a video that I was making. And my dad was like, oh my gosh, we should make them into stickers. So we had these stickers, one for each horse. And I was like, perfect. When I meet you guys, I can be like, okay, which sticker do you resonate with? Which is your favourite horse? Which horse is your spirit animal? Like that kind of thing. So the results are in, drum roll please, of which horse was the most popular. That's my drum roll. I'm slapping my legs, I don't know if you can hear. And the winner is Duke, my pony. He is our little rescue from Walter's Welfare, who is probably the size of a large dog. He was the favourite, actually. It was him and my main horse, Joey, who I ride, who is my bigger boy. It was between those two, actually, of who is top horse. They were neck and neck for quite a while, but I think Duke just overtook Joey right at the end. And then Casper, unfortunately. Casper, who is my older boy now, he was the underdog. He was the last person to be picked sticker-wise. Although I would say, at the beginning of the meet and greet, Joey was kind of in the lead. And then Casper, he was always right at the back. But by the end, he caught up quite a bit. So maybe it kind of goes to show people that were at the back of the queue, they're like, more Casper energy. Anyway, so had a lovely time. Was incredible watching the show jumping. They also had supercars there, so of course got some cool pics of the supercars. Also, I have a mildly embarrassing story. It is not a Esme's Country Life podcast without a mildly embarrassing story. I'd say this one is probably quite up there. So I was looking around the supercars. Now at Bolesworth there are multiple different kind of toilets, and yes, it's going to be an embarrassing story because it's about toilets. You've got that much of a spoiler. So anyway, the one that's nearest the media centre that I had been going to, it was like a unisex one where you could go in any toilet. There wasn't like a male or a female one. It was just go in. Those sort of portable movable toilets. It was one of those blocks, but like a fancy one, like a nice one. So anyway, went and looked at the supercars, got some photos there and thought, got to that time of the day. need to go for a wee. So I was actually talking to a few of you guys, and I was like, we're having like a bit. I'd already met this group of people at my meet and greet, and it was like another like, oh hey, hi again, like chatting away, walking along, and then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna nip to the loo. It's like that awkward thing where it's like, I'm just gonna go to the toilet. So that wasn't the awkward part. It wasn't like, sorry guys, gotta go, my bladder is full. It was okay. Gonna quickly hop on into the toilet. Which toilet did I walk into? It was the men's. It was not good. And I didn't realise I'd walked into the men's because, number one, I was probably like so flustered being like, sorry guys, I need to go to the toilet. Hopped on in. And the only reason why I realised it was the men's, because when I walked in, there were no cubicles. It was urinals, and there was a man standing there, and he gave me a funny look, and I was like, I am so sorry, like quickly ran out. And then you guys probably all these people that just saw me come out of the men's toilet, like, what's she been doing? Why is she in the men's? So I was, absolutely mortified. Quickly ran into the women's, like, someone save me, goodness me, I need to hide. Whew. Anyway, so there we go. It isn't, so that was my number one embarrassing story of the day, or of the podcast. So anyway, that happened. But also, just want to say, because at Bolesworth it was also really, really warm. So I was sitting in the media centre, and everyone in the media centre was like, oh, you're in the princess spot. I was like, what do you mean the princess spot? Because apparently I didn't even realise this. I just was like, okay, I'm going to go in the top corner, have my own little personal space. I was like, I'll go furthest away. I thought I was being quite good, actually. I was like, I'll go furthest away from the door because I don't need to be like rushing in and out at all times like these photographers are, where they go click, 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 take photos, quick, back up the cards, quick, take photos, post on Instagram, like that kind of thing. I was like, I'm just like vibing in here, in between meet and greets, having a bit of a chill, that kind of thing, having a snack. So I was like, I'll go in the corner furthest away from the door. And then everyone was like, oh, you're in the princess seat. I was like, what do you mean I'm in the princess seat? Because apparently that was the spot where the aircon was. So anyway, didn't mean to sit in the princess spot. So I apologise to all the people in the media centre at Bolesworth. But anyway, no, it was really, really good fun. Such a good show. Very, very grateful to them for having me. And the sweetest thing, one of you guys, I think it was your mum, came up to me, saw me in the media centre and brought me a scoop of strawberry ice cream because it was such a hot day, and I was like, it was like just made my day. So thank you for the strawberry ice cream. It was so sweet. I'm really sorry, I'm rubbish with names, but I can remember your face. I'm one of those people where names, I mean, maybe it's the dyslexia, but names I'm absolutely rubbish with. So I just want to say thank you. That was horse show number one. So that was Sunday evening, drove on home. Monday, went to London for a dress fitting, and that was with Isabel Christensen, who very, very kindly dressed me for Aachen, which I'll get onto in a little bit, because let me tell you, their dresses, chef's kiss. But anyway, so then it was time, Tuesday morning at 4 a.m. or 4 a.m. my dad came and picked me up, and we drove to Germany. And you might be thinking, Esme, driving? Seriously? You're going to drive rather than take a plane? Well, number one, better for the environment. Number two, we have a lot of camera gear. We have a lot of stuff, and it's just so much easier to chuck it in a car, especially me with all my dresses. I came with 2 full-size suitcases. I mean, one of the dresses pretty much took up a whole suitcase. It was like a wedding dress. So yes, a lot of luggage. Normally, I've said this before, I'm very good, unless, I've got a big dress like that. I'm very good at, if I'm going away, just give me a rucksack. I can pack light. I can survive, I've done so many like trips for work now that I know what I need. I know when I'm overpacking and underpacking and that kind of thing. Like I'm pretty good. And the third reason is it's actually quicker to drive than to fly. And you might be thinking, Esme, how is that true? The thing is, when you go to an airport, you've got to drive an hour to the airport, and then you've got to get there 3 hours early, and then it's always delayed, and then you wait for your luggage, and then go through passport control, which is always really busy, and then like the airport nearest Aachen is actually a little bit further away, and then you got to either get a train or a taxi or a hire car, and it's like, it's just quicker to drive. It's quite nice, actually. Don't get me wrong, I do quite like a long road trip I mean, this was a very long road trip, but, you know, having your own space, having your own car, if you want to stop and stretch your legs, you don't have to, like, on a plane, like, scoot past loads of people and then go into one of those toilets where it feels like you're going to get sucked down the toilet hole. You know, you don't have any of that. I don't know if anybody else as a kid on a plane was scared of, like, the toilets when you'd flush it because they'd be really noisy, or maybe that was just me. Anyway, I was traumatised that I just was worried when I was younger that I was going to get, you know, sucked down. Sorry, I've talked a lot about toilets in today's episode. Anyway, moving on. So anyway, yeah, drove to Germany, which I was talking to a few Americans at the show, and when I was telling them this, I feel like their brains could not compute, because in the US you can drive for like 4 hours and you're still in the same state and everything's the same. We drove through 4 different countries to get to Germany, because obviously UK, France, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany. That's 5, actually. That's 5 different countries in a day. So that is quite wild. And obviously, a lot of them have different languages. So a lot of the time we'd stop at a service station. I'd be like, am I speaking French? Am I speaking English? Or am I speaking German? Which, German, I did not do German at school. I did French at Spanish. So French, I'm all right at. I can do my please, my thank you. Can I have this many? Cheers, mate. I can do that in French, like, all right. German, I probably should have learned a bit more German, to be honest. I can say thank you, and I feel like this is such a British thing that people do, is they'll say everything in English, and then they'll just say thank you in the country's origin language and be like, I'm basically bilingual. Anyway, so we finally arrived at Germany. And little thing that I did remember. Last year, if you listen to my podcast episode about Aachen last year, you will know that even though this is my 4th year now, this year I did not get caught out. Last year, I always forget that you need your... Dad, actually, this is quite bad. Dad and I came up with lots of different, like, names when we were bored on the car journey for this. But I was... I don't know. Sorry, I got the giggles. Are PP pennies. So if you don't know what this is, in a lot of European countries, if you need a wee... Again, why is it back to toilets? I'm sorry. If you need a wee, you have to pay to go to the toilet, which in the UK, like, that is actually quite mind-blowing to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the toilets are nice, but they're not anything special, you know? You don't have, like, I always feel like, when you're in a fancy bathroom, when they have hand towels, like, instead of, like, a paper towel or one of those hand dryers where it's somebody that kind of, it feels like somebody's, like, coughing on you, like it's kind of like very mild wind and it's like lukewarm. It's a good place when they have the Dyson hand dryers. But I feel like top echelon, top tier is when there's like a little kind of like a face towel, but you have it for your hands. What's it called? Yeah, face towel. And that's when it's fancy. And if they have hand cream as well. It wasn't even like that. And tell you what, we go to the same shopping mall to go and charge the car and have a bit of a pit stop every year. It's like our tradition, and we almost didn't go to that one because there's a new charger closer to Aachen, and I was actually almost heartbroken. I was like, no, we've got, it's not even like a good outlet mall, it's like a very bog standard run-of-the-mill outlet mall. It's like, no, Dad, we need to go to it, it's the tradition. And I tell you what, every year it's the same lady that's in those toilets taking the money, and I'm like, she just must live there. Like, what a job. Like, I don't know, she's like an older lady as well. Maybe she's like retired, and well, obviously she's not retired because she's working a job, it's like something fun to do. Maybe she's like, just likes chatting to the people. But yeah, I was like, I don't know if I could do that, sitting in a toilet all day, and this toilet has like no natural lighting or no windows. Must feel like you're in like the slot machines at Las Vegas, like no clocks, nothing, just like, because our old office, we used to joke that it was like that because our old office used to have no windows because it was my dad's old dark room. So literally I'd go in there, edit, and I'd come out and I'd be like, oh, it's dark now. I didn't even realise, like, time just doesn't go by, or it does go by and you don't realise. Anyway, so yes, I remembered my tinkle change. That was another name that we came. What was it like? I'm trying to think of other things. But yeah, anyway, you could come up with lots of different analogies for what you call it. But I remembered to, as my nana always says, I remembered my pennies for spending a penny. So yes, anyway, that was all good. Because last time we got there and I was absolutely desperate and did not have any euros on me. So anyway, all was well. Sorry, now we're finally actually got to Aachen in this very long story that I'm telling you. So we got to Aachen, Germany, which is, if you didn't know, Aachen, or Cheer Aachen, is the World Equestrian Festival, which is basically, I would pretty much say, the biggest horse show in the world. It has everything. It has 4-star eventing, 5-star show jumping, 5-star dressage, it has vaulting, it has carriage driving. It literally has like all the equestrian disciplines at one place. It has a huge stadium for the show jumping that can fit, I'm pretty sure, up to 70,000 people every year. It's like booked out. The atmosphere is like no other show I've been to. They have a whole stadium for the dressage as well, and they just use the showground for the horse show. It's not like like the NEC in Birmingham where it's like, we use it for hoys, but we also use it for this, that and the other. It's like, no, this is Aachen. This is the World Equestrian Festival. And next year it's going to be a big one as well, because they have the World Championships there. So very, very cool. But yes, so I was working for Aachen, doing some social media promotion for them for the week. Now, I was actually only supposed to go to Aachen from Thursday till Sunday. So 4 days, which is like a long show for me anyway, because in the UK, a lot of horse shows are obviously 3-day events, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or often horse shows are like, come for the Saturday or come for the Sunday. So normally it's either 1 day or sometimes I go for the 2. Depends on how long the show wants me for. Sometimes they're like, you know what? Okay, you've done your time. Anyway, so Aachen was a busy week. So yeah, anyway, sorry, rewind. So I was there instead for 2 extra days because I needed to be there for the Tuesday for the opening ceremony. So I was there for the whole thing. So I think this actually is the longest horse show I've ever done. I mean, I've been away for a long time for work, but I've often I've worked at a horse show and then done other things, other filming commitments or filming for brands, that kind of thing. When this was just like solely at the horse show. And the reason why I went early on the Tuesday was because I've been nominated for an award, which when I heard about this, it was like, you know, a big shock and a big surprise, because it wasn't like one of those things that I entered into. It's not like I entered into a competition. One of the team from Aachen very kindly entered me into it. They were like, this gal, I think she should be in it. So I was like very, very honoured So anyway, I knew before going to Aachen that I was going to be in the top 3. So I was like, wow, not only am I nominated for this award that I didn't realise, but I'm in the top 3. So I was like, brilliant. So anyway, it was like when they rang me up and was like, hey, can you come on the Tuesday? I was like, I can clear my schedule. I can be there. So anyway, 2 extra days in Germany it was. So this is why I had this dress fitting for Isabel Christensen, because I knew getting this award, I needed to look good, you know, especially as this is I haven't even told you what the award is. So the award is the Silver Horse Media Award, which is a very prestigious award in Germany. Now, I'm not going to lie, I hadn't really heard of it before, but when I looked it up, I was like, oh wow, this is a big thing. Now, if you don't know much about the media night or the opening ceremony in Germany, Aachen, it is a big thing. There is a full-on red carpet. It's live on TV, on national television. It is a big thing. The Germans, you guys, you love your horses, which I think is an incredible thing. I'd say Germany and probably Ireland as well. Ireland is a very big horse country. So those two are some of the biggest horse countries. I mean, the UK, we are pretty big as well, but I mean, we don't really have anything like that where it's filmed national television. It is a big thing. So I was like, okay, I need to look good. So the dress I'm going to describe to you, if you haven't seen it, it was actually something a little bit different for me. It was an off-the-shoulder dress. Now, when I had the dress fitting, the guy at the shop was like, hey, what sort of thing are you looking for? Is there any big no-nos, that kind of thing? And as a girl who has a slightly smaller chest, the one thing that I always like to feel confident with is the chest department, because I'd say that's not my biggest insecurity. It's not something that I worry about every day or anything like that. I feel like if you're worrying about how you look every day, then you've got no problems in your life. Anyway, so I was like, I want to have something that I feel comfortable and confident in, and something where I don't feel super exposed in my chest area, if that makes sense. He was like, perfect, got the dress for you. Tried it on. This was actually the only dress that I tried on for that day or that kind of occasion, and I was like, perfect, this is the one. This is like the closest I think I've come to like wedding dress shopping. Not that, you know, I'm a single girl. I'm not looking into any of that anytime soon. Don't you worry. But I was like, it was one of those things where I walked in the shop, had no idea what I wanted. And I feel like this is what, like, I don't know, brides to be must feel like. I was like, no idea what I wanted. Never ever really thought of wearing something strapless, because I don't know, like, it's always been like, not scary, but because you don't have anything like holding it up, I just thought, you know, I'm not got much in the boob department, surely you need a little bit of something to hold up the dress. But no, put it on, I was like, oh my gosh, actually this dress feels like it was made for me. This is perfect. So it had a really lovely neckline, felt super confident, super comfortable in it, and the team very kindly like adjusted it for me and made sure that it fits me perfectly. So I got like measured and everything. But this was a baby blue strapless dress, and it had kind of an asymmetric neckline, and then the bottom, the best way I can describe it, it was like a Cinderella dress. It was like a princess dress, and I never really thought I would be much of a person for like a big kind of like poofy dress. But oh my goodness, like, I'm like, when I look for hopefully if it ever happens, but hopefully if I ever look for a wedding dress one day, I want one like this, because this was perfect. I loved it. Just give me one in white. But anyway, no, it was so cute. Absolutely loved it. So it was quite funny though, getting into the car, because it was like a proper like wedding dress. When I came out, it was like all this, there was just so much fabric. I felt like when I was sitting in the car on the way there, the best way I can describe it, because it was big and blue, I felt like in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Is it Violet Beauregard that becomes into like a big blueberry kind of thing? That's how I kind of felt like when I was trying to get out the car, because obviously did not want the dress to like touch the dirty car that had driven goodness knows how many miles all the way from the UK to Germany. I was like, oh my gosh, this dress is so nice, please do not get it dirty. So yeah, honestly, so grateful to Isabel Christensen for very kindly dressing me for Aachen, because I was definitely main character. That's the best way to describe it. So I was like, oh, is this dress a little bit too much? And then I was like, well, I have been nominated for an award, so you know, I've got to look presentable. Also, some info as well. If you look at any of these photos, I really hope it looks like I've got a lovely glow rather than I was a sweaty mess, because it was 38 degrees Celsius when we arrived, and this was like 5 p.m, 6 p.m. I was so warm in this big kind of ball gown. So I really hope I didn't look too sweaty in the photos. But anyway, so then it was time. So we had our little dinner, and I was going to go and sit with all my content creator friends, because I have quite a lot of different content creator friends, because obviously I've been to the show 4 years now, and it's always such a lovely event because they have content creators in the equestrian world from all different countries, and because it's kind of like a yearly tradition now, we all come together, we all catch up. It's like some of the only times that we really see each other. So we have Evan, or Evan Grooms, is his social media. He does some really funny kind of POV content about him and his pony Piper, which is so cute. So anyway, we've seen him now for 2 years, so I was like, wanted to catch up with him and Mathilde from Mathilde and Sligo. She's a French content creator who I've seen at loads of different shows now, and they were all sitting on this table, and I was going to go and sit with them, and then the lady who was one of the judges for the kind of award was like, oh, come and sit with us. I was like, okay. But there wasn't enough table on their table, so I sat on a table kind of like nearby, because she needed to come and get me when it's time for the awards. So anyway, I sat on a table with lots of German people who didn't really speak much English, and I was kind of like sitting there like, I'm all on my own, and they're all my friends on the table further away, and I was like, oh, I want to catch up with them. But it was all good. I did catch up with them for the rest of the event, so all was well, because yeah, like Yessa and Matt, they were on that table as well, and I was just here like, so I was trying to like speak English to these. Oh no. So if you are an audio listener, you'll be like, why is she saying oh no, I know? Our light has just RIP'd. Oh no. Obviously it was like, sorry Esme, you're not looking your best today, it really has just gone. Davide is trying to, my dad Davide, he was trying to fix the light, but we have no light. Oh no. Oh, it's back. Goodness me. Oh, I was just about to do a situation report and then it's back. Okay, we can close the door now. Is that better? Does it look the same, or is the light... Oh, that feels a bit brighter than normal. Is that brighter than normal? I was going to say, am I coming in hot? Oh, the printer's entered the chat. Oh no, everything's coming to life. Oh no. All right, we are now back. It wasn't the light that had broken. We actually had a power cut, which is, it's called Esme's Country Life for nothing. Out here in the country, in the sticks, we get the odd power cut every now and again. So at first we were like, what is wrong with this light? And then we thought, oh, maybe it's the extension lead. And then we thought maybe it's the power outlet. And then I was like, wait a second. Let me check the computer, and it was a power cut. So if you can hear some random printer noises in the background, the printer has just entered the chat and has decided to wake up and make some printer noises. But anyway, we are now back. I was talking about, yes, the Silver Horse Media Award. So anyway, after we had our little dinner and walked the red carpet, it was then time to go up for my award. Now, I thought, I thought, oh, just walk into the arena, here's the award or runner-up or whatever I get. Lovely jubbly. No. They were like, you're going to arrive in style. I was like, what do you mean arrive in style? Okay. So literally was Cinderella, because I had to get into a horse and carriage. Now, when I tell you, again, big ball dress with heels, getting into a horse and carriage, I had not anticipated this, and I thought, oh, maybe I should have done some practice. But anyway, hopped on in, all was well. I was like, the worst thing, filmed on national television, you do not want to fall face first coming out of the carriage. Luckily, all was good. So got in the carriage with the other Silver Horse Media Award nominees. We were going around, smiling and waving. I didn't know what to do, because I was like, I felt like royalty, honestly. I felt like, I was part of the royal family and back of a horse and carriage. So I was like doing a little wave as I was going by, because they did like a full lap and everything. And then anyway, got out the carriage, and then it was all three lined up. I felt like we were on the X Factor, because it was like a proper, like, nobody knew who'd won the award. And I tell you what, I'm not just gonna I don't know if this is gonna be spoilers for who won, which, I mean, if you follow my socials, you get all the live updates anyway. Go and check me out at this_Esme. Sorry, it had to be that content creator. But anyway, so yes, I always had this joke. Well, I do think it's actually partially true that in kind of things that are judged, and it's not like, the Olympics where obviously the fastest person is the winner, like that's just facts. But I'm talking about things that are kind of like arty, where there's like a judge, or like a, like Strictly Come Dancing, or which is like Dancing with the Stars, or X Factor, or Britain's Got Talent. The person that always wins, I don't think is the best. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but when you think of especially X Factor, think of all the bands or all the artists that have come second. The ones that come second, they're the ones that always have a pop-in career, selling out. Like, they're the ones that are, doing stadiums. The people that win, that come first, like on The Voice and stuff, you don't really hear about them much. Maybe they have like a year of fame, a year or something. But like, I'm pretty sure One Direction, I'm going to have to look this up. Did they win the X Factor? They might be one of the, if they did win. Did they come second? Who did one? Yeah, see? One Direction didn't even win the X Factor, and they became one of the most popular boy bands in the world. So all I'm saying is, the people that come second, people always go, oh, first loser. Nah, mate. They're the real winners. Anyway, if you ever come second, think of that. Or even third. But anyway, back to what it was. So anyway, so they did it kind of like, obviously, third place, then second place, then first place. So I was thinking, look, I'm not German. This is a German, like, media award. So, like, I'm just, number one, super honoured to be here. Like, I was very much like, I'm just happy to be here. I'm just grateful. Thanks for the invite. Was quite cool going in the horse and carriage. So anyway, the three of us lined up, and I was really expecting them to say my name. I thought, I'm against two other German people. Like, I'm definitely going to be third. Anyway, so they say this bloke's name, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've come second. And I did actually come second. So yeah, I am the runner-up for the Silver Horse Media Award, but I still got I got a whole plaque and everything, and like award, and shook everyone's hand, and prize money as well. I was like, cool, this is the most amount of money like I've ever won from any competition in my life. So anyway, thank you very much, Silver Horse Media Award, for, you know, giving me second place. Really appreciate it. So anyway, it was worth the extra 2 days in Germany. So that was very cool. And then, I feel like my time in Aachen was a real whirlwind because, as I said before, there's a lot going on. They have all these top level competitions going on at all times of all day. And like some of the competitions, they go on until midnight every night, and then there are big parties as well. And you kind of feel like you have to be in 5 different places at once. We have 2 special guests in today's podcast episode. The first one is going to be Adam Short. Now, Adam is a top level groom in the eventing world. He is the groom at the moment for Tom McEwen, who is, you know, Olympic gold medalist in eventing. So, you know, he has got some very important horses to look after. But I've also known Adam for 5-6 years now. The first time I met him, I think, was back in either end of 2019 or beginning of 2020, where I went and filmed a day in the life at the Fox Pits place, and that was back when he was working for them at their event yard. So I feel like I've known or followed Adam around so many different events, and he is like such a lovely person. So anyway, I'm going to enter now the interview from live at Aachen with him, talking about what it's like being an event groom. We're now here with Adam Short, who is the groom of the Olympic event rider Tom McEwen. Now, Adam, I feel like I've followed you around at so many different events, so many different places.
Yeah, it's been about, 5-6 years when we first met each other?
Definitely.
We've followed each other's journeys.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
And you arrived here at Aachen yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
So what sort of goes behind the scenes of getting these top-level horses across the world for an event?
Yeah, so for an event like here in Europe, we travelled on the ferry. Mm-hmm. There's the option to go like on the Eurotunnel as well, but we came on the ferry. And actually the process starts a few weeks in advance. We'll have to take bloods off the horses, and they get all the kind of vet checks done and the health papers. And then our journey this year, we left home about 11 p.m, drove from the yard to Dover. Got on the ferry at 5:20 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah,
early.
Early. And then took the crossing over. When we arrive into Calais, we'll have like a vet check. So a vet comes and checks the horses, sorts all the paperwork. And then from there we crack on, and it was about 5 hours from Calais to here, a little bit of traffic, but so yeah, that's kind of the process of arriving somewhere like this. And then it's really important when we arrive to make sure the horses have had plenty to drink, and like give them a walk around and they get their heads down and graze. That's kind of the behind the scenes of the travelling.
Now, you've worked at Aachen for many years now, and it's an incredible, huge show. What would you say your favourite thing about it is?
I think we're really lucky with Aachen that there's all the disciplines going on at the same time. You know, like for us as the eventers, we're often just at the event, and eventing's the only thing that's happened. But it's so fun for us to be able to watch the dressage, the show jumping in the evening, and it's cool to see like what other teammates that we don't often get a chance to spend time with.
100%. I feel like whenever I'm at this show, I feel like I need to be in like 5 different places at once to be able to see everything.
There's so much going on, yeah.
Definitely. And this week it's been a hot one. I mean, yesterday I think it was about 38 degrees C. So do you have any tips for people back home on how they can cool their horses down when it's really hot?
Yeah, so I mean, we're lucky in the stables we have here that there's big fans. But I mean, I've brought a fan as well in the stable just to try and keep the horse cool. When we bring them out, we try and stay in the shade as much as possible. Again, feed them plenty of electrolytes so they're drinking enough. And if they get hot, again, we've got lovely cold showers here, so we can just cool them off and stand them in the shade.
And Tom, the rider that you work for, he is also a fellow Lemieux rider, Charles Owen rider, and Voltaire Design rider. So tell me a little bit more about the importance of having these brands backing these riders. Yeah,
no, I mean, we couldn't do it without it, really. I mean, to have really good quality products, it's important for the riders and the horses. You know, Lemieux offer products for both rider and horse. Charles Owen with the helmets, and Voltaire with the saddles. You know, it's everything. Everything we do is for the best interest of the horse. We want the horse to feel its best so it can perform its best. And having these products that are really top class. It makes our life so much easier.
Definitely. Now let's bring it back to the horses. Tell me a little bit more about the horse that you have here this week and a little bit about their personality, something that maybe the general public don't know.
Yeah, he's actually got a really quirky personality. So his name is Brookfield Quality, and we call him Norris in the stable. Nervous Norris, we call him, because he's scared of everything.
Oh, bless.
But he's also just great at everything, you know?
I mean, you can't be too scared if he's an event horse.
Exactly. No, you spook it like a different colour piece of grass.
Yeah.
But then he comes to a great big jump and he says, yeah, bring it on.
I feel like that's always the way. I've got one like that.
Yeah, But we've had him now 3 or 4 years, so I've really got to know him and got to know his quirks. And I think we really trust each other now. He always, when I lead him out, he kind of stays just behind me as a little protective barrier. Yeah, no, he's so cute. And he's a really, really good horse, really quality horse. So no, looking forward to what he thinks about the course. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, it sounds like you have a very busy weekend ahead of you, so I'll let you go. But thank you so much for your time. And lovely to see you again.
Yeah,
definitely. We are now back to Podcast Esme, and actually I thought the next thing we would talk about is actually the eventing, because when I tell you, I've been to lots of different events, but one thing that I would say that Aachen does so well is that near the water jump, which is the fence that everyone wants to go to, everyone wants to go to the water because it's just, it's spectacular to watch. There's a lot of combinations, often they're quite technical. I mean, just like seeing all the splashy horses, like that kind of thing, like it's just fantastic to watch. It's like the most interesting place. I'm not gonna lie, it's the best place to be. But the thing that they do well is they have these like mounds around where the water is. So it means that loads of people can see it, and you're not standing in front of like some 6-foot bloke man where you can't see because they're taller than you, and you're just standing at the back of their head, or actually not in the back of their head if they're 6 foot, for me anyway, like basically their waist. But they have these mounds, so it means that some people, like at the bottom of the mound, they actually sit down. It's very civilised, very lovely. A lot of people sit down, they can sit and watch the water for ages, and then if they feel like moving around, they can. And because it's not kind of, on a mound or like on a slope, it means that you can just stand a little bit higher than the person in front of you, and you can get a brilliant view. So I think there should be a petition for all events near the water jump or fence to have a mound like that so people can watch, or near all the good fences anyway, because it's brilliant. And then after that they have the driving as well, which is always one of my favourites to watch, the driving marathon, which the best way I can describe it is it's like carriage driving but cross country, because they go through water, they have like big up and downs hills. They have lots of twists and turns, and they have like kind of like there's one bit where it's like hedges that they have to go in and out, and honestly it looks like they go through a maze. That's one thing that I think I would really struggle with if driving was my discipline, is if I was like the person at the front doing the steering, I would not know where I'd be going. Like, I find it hard enough remembering a dressage test or a show jumping course, let alone a full-on marathon where they have loads of different obstacles. No, thank you. That I would not remember. I would definitely have to be the person at the back being the weight, doing the leaning, because I would not trust myself up front, even just steering in general. Because if you have been listening to the podcast for a while, you will know that I had a driving lesson with Darth Vader, which actually is one of my top podcast episodes when we look at the analytics, which, I mean, that is a very... Actually, it was a driving lesson with Darth Vader with the Lloyd's Bank horses. So that is a phrase. So yes, Dan Naprue, he actually plays Darth Vader in the more recent Star Warses, and he is an equestrian and does loads of like horse stunt things as well. So very, very cool. So obviously with cheering on their team, they were there at Aachen as well. I actually caught up with a few of their team there as well, which was lovely. But yeah, if you ever get to go to an event or a horse show where they have the driving, oh my goodness, if they have the driving marathon, please watch it, because it is incredible and it's such an underrated sport as well. Anyway, so that was very, very cool. Also, talking about temperature, luckily the weather did cool down, because the beginning of the week, oh my gosh, it was like, if you were, I don't know, it just felt like I was walking through an oven at all times. As I said before, I'm not designed for the heat. But there was a storm at Aachen. Now, as I said before, I've been to Aachen, this is my 4th year, and I feel like I've, got a pretty good measure of things, knew where everything is, know all the people, that kind of thing. But I was talking to some of the photographers in the media centre, and they were like, Esme, there's going to be a storm tonight. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, cool, kind of exciting. And they were like, no, it is an Arkanstorm. And I was like, what do you mean, an Arkanstorm? And they were like, there's storms, and then there are Arkanstorms. So yes, this is a next level storm. Apparently, like the thunder and lightning, it is so loud, so dramatic. So when Dad and I heard there was going to be an Arkansas, I mean, we'd got to the media centre pretty early that morning. We'd clocked our hours in early. So when we looked to the sky and we were like, cameras plus rain plus storm does not equal good. So we thought, let's go home before the storm. So luckily we got back before the storm. So all was well, all was good. And actually it was a lot cooler the rest of the week. And I tell you what, one thing that I did do this week, or did that week in Aachen, it's now the next week, again, sorry, sleepy Esme here, was I went for a run. Now, you might be thinking, Esme, why? Why are you talking about this in the podcast episode? Are you just trying to show off, get your Strava points in, or your kudos or whatever? I'm not on Strava, but apparently that's what running people do. I'm like a runner, but I'm not a runner. Do you know what I mean? I'm not out here doing marathons or anything, but I am the sort of person, I have a busy brain, and I would describe myself, I'm like a border collie. I need to be mentally and physically like stimulated. Like I just need to go for a run just for my mental health to stay sane. So I was like, okay, I'm going for a run. And I tell you what, I've seen this like kind of like, I don't know if I'd call it a life hack, but I've seen this on social media before where people say, if you're ever on holiday or vacation or you're somewhere new, the best thing you can do to get to know the area is go for a morning run first thing in the morning, because number one, you'll feel like a local. I was running around like, yeah, I'm German. These are my streets. And also, you can cover so much of the city or the town or wherever you are and see a lot of scenery, which if you're walking, you can see a lot, but if you're running, you obviously cover more distance. And if you're in a car, like obviously you do see stuff, but you go by so quickly that you don't really take it in, where I feel like running is like the perfect like in between, where you go far enough, but also not too fast that you can kind of take everything in. And tell you what, I mean, it was in the middle of summer and it was a lovely morning. But you know what? It was such lovely vibes that all these people walking their dogs in the morning, which actually, I'm not going to lie, was probably my favourite thing about the run, was just looking at all the dogs. I'm a big dog and animal lover, if you couldn't already tell. So I was like, oh, there's a golden retriever, and oh, there's a little chihuahua. Like I was like running along looking at all these dogs. And also, I don't know, it was just very lovely. It was a lovely morning. Everyone was out. Everyone's, having a good time. So anyway, I just wanted to put that in there. If you're ever going on holiday or vacation somewhere, obviously, if you are a single woman on your own, please be careful when running around a foreign country on your own. Just be careful. But I felt like in the middle of Germany, in Aachen, I felt very safe. So I was planning on running every morning, but that did not happen because I had some late nights and I had some busy days, and especially cross country day as well. Like I did overtime on my steps. My Garmin was happy. I defo did my 10,000 steps that day. So I was like, that morning I was like, no, I'm not gonna run this morning. I'm gonna have enough exercise as it is. But anyway, let me now bring you on to the second interview of my time at Aachen, our second special guest. So we actually have Boyd Martin, who is also another Olympic event rider. He is for Team USA. So I'm going to pass Esme and pass Boyd, and now we're going to have a little chat. So I'm going to enter that in now. We're now here with international event rider and Team Lumia rider, Boyd Martin. So Boyd, I hear this is your first ever time in Aachen. Tell us how it's been.
It's been nerve-wracking, to be honest. My mother-in-law lives about an hour down the road.
No
so my wife was born not far from here. So
wow.
It's my first time here, and I've always looked at this competition and watched it on online and on the live stream, and yeah, it's surreal being here, walking around and seeing all these legendary riders in dressage and show jumping and driving, and it's a real honour and privilege to be here.
Well, big congratulations for yesterday as well, with the US team coming second and you fifth individually. How did you find riding the course compared to other events that you've been to?
It's a hard one to prepare. I sort of knew what I was in for because I'd sort of watched it a fair bit and had a lot of my teammates ride here in the past, but sort of a very intense cross-country course. It's basically a 5-star over 6.5 minutes, and there's huge crowds, and the design, it's a very challenging course. Lots of like skinnies and narrows and corners and 3 water jumps, and then you got to go flat out around the whole course. So it was and then finishing in the big stadium. You know, you come around the
Yes.
corner and there's this
The
massive
atmosphere here is like nothing
cheering
else.
you on. So I was pleased with my horse, though. He went around very well, and not too bad. Finished 5th, which is pretty good. But
And tell us a little bit more about your horse, Commando 3.
oh, he's a German, mate. He was right at home.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, let's see. We bought him here in Germany probably 3 years ago off a Swedish rider. He's probably the most beautiful horse in the whole competition. Big, tall, rangy horse, except he's got a white eye, which some people get a bit weird with, but I kind of like a white eye.
Yeah.
He's sort of had his biggest year so far. He came second in the Kentucky 5-star and representing America here in the Nations Cup, and he's a good horse. He's a bit of a quirky horse. He's a bit spooky and a bit nervous, but a real trier.
I sometimes feel like the quirky ones are the best ones, though, when they've got a little something to them.
Yeah, it's like people, mate.
Yeah.
You're attracted to weird and wonderful people. So.
And tell us a little bit more about what you have coming up. What other events do you have? Because we have the World Championships here in Aachen next year, so hopefully see you there maybe.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, the sport's really, really exciting in America. The end of this year is sort of now going to be our new focus. We've got probably 7 horses doing 4-star and 5-star longs at the end of the year. So October will be the sort of biggest month of the year. We've got Malvern Park 4-star long, and then the next week Maryland 5-star long, then the next week Poe 5-star long. So
wow, so it sounds like
November, I'm going to lock myself on the couch for a week after all those events because it's going to be exhausting.
As you should. Well, best of luck for then, and thank you so much for your time.
Cheers.
Alrighty, we are now back to podcast Esme in the studio, and next thing I'm going to talk about with my trip to Aachen has to be the Rolex Grand Slam. So I was actually very honoured to be invited to the Rolex Round Table, which, if you don't know what this is, basically the Rolex Grand Slam is a huge show jumping event where it's actually in multiple different countries, and obviously it's top level show jumping, but I was invited to the round table, so they do like a media kind of interview with some of the Rolex testimonies the day before the Grand Slam. So I was actually the only content creator there. Everyone else was from major news outlets, journalists, that kind of thing. And so every now and again, you get a little bit of imposter syndrome. But I was like, okay, this is fine. Like, it's all good. I've been to these things before, chatting to everyone, super confident. Life is good. I mean, I had one of my photographer friends, she was there doing the photos, so I mainly chatted to her about her foal and, you know, horse people. It's so easy to chat to horse people because you're just like, oh, what horses do you have? What breeds are they? Like, and then easy. Anyway, so all the people that were there were like big media news outlet people, and there were a lot of people from like all over the world as well, which was very cool. And I thought they said come along with some questions. So the lady who's a Rolex representative, she obviously introduced all of the testimonies, talked about their accomplishments, gave a little interview with them, a little bit of a chat about the weekend, and then they gave a lot of time for the press to ask questions as well. And I thought, oh, people are going to be like, you know, they're going to be clocked in about all these people, done their research before, know about all of their wins, all of their horses, that kind of thing, which no, I also, you know, I did my research. I wanted to be, you know, professional corporate girly, journalist girly anyway. So I was like, yep, I'm ready, let's go. And the first question that a guy asked, which I thought, again, it's going to be about the sport, it's going to be about Rolex or that kind of thing. He asked, is there a maximum weight that the riders have to think about when it comes to riding? And I thought, oh, and then I kind of realised these news outlets, people, they are not horsey, because I feel like that's not really, number one, if you get to sit down with like Olympic top level riders, that's not really like a, you know, and you have the opportunity to chat to them. It's not really like a question that you could ask any rider that, or like, I don't know. So that was a bit strange. I was like, oh, okay, like obviously it doesn't really know much. I think a lot of people, like when they think of horse riding, they think of racing, because obviously like racing does get a lot of media coverage compared to other equestrian disciplines. So maybe they were thinking about that. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a bit weird. Anyway, so I normally at these things, you know, I don't know, I've really come out of my shell in the last couple of years. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be the second person to ask a question. So went and put my hand up. And so my question, which I thought was not a bad question, if I do say so myself. This is my favourite question to ask riders when I interview them, especially show jumpers. I always like to ask them, And I feel like this is a bit of a psychology question as well. I like to say, what if you could redo any show jumping round in your career again, what would it be and why? Which I always feel like throws riders off a little bit, because it's not normally what they're expecting. They're normally expecting like, oh, what's like your best advice that you would give like riders wanting to become show, that kind of thing, or like what's the biggest accomplishment or like biggest challenge you had to overcome. Like those are the sort of questions that I was expecting. So anyway, I asked them this, and it was really interesting hearing all of their different views. So we had one person said that they would redo last year's Rolex Grand Slam round, that was Richard Vogel, and keep the last pole up, because I think he had the last pole down, which I thought was quite a good answer. Then we had Daniel Deusser, and I'm pretty sure he said like he would redo another one that he probably could have done better or something along those lines. Or actually he first started off saying, well, I wouldn't redo last year's one because he won that one. So he was like, I wouldn't want to do it again and then like it not go perfectly. And then Meredith, her answer was really interesting actually. She said that she wouldn't want to redo any of them because each round you learn something if you do well or you do badly, and it makes you the rider that you are today. So I thought that was quite a good answer as well, because it's quite interesting, because there are some people that I've asked that to, and they've said, oh, like, especially if they're like an older rider as well, and maybe they don't have that horse in their life anymore, they're not riding that horse or that kind of thing, they would say, I would go back and ride like my childhood pony and do this pony competition at like a local show and just be able to like be with them again, or like something like that. So I find it really interesting hearing what riders say. Or sometimes they say, oh, like my biggest win, would love to relive that memory, and like, the crowd afterwards, or like that feeling was like nothing else. Like, I don't know. So I always find that's a very interesting question to ask. And then the media news that out people. Another one. Asked Meredith, do you feel like you have a competitive advantage over the boys because you're shorter and lighter? And I was like, what sort of question is this? I was like, do you not know anything about show jumping? Because obviously in horse riding, this is a sport where men and women compete equally, and if they had a physical advantage of like men being stronger or women being lighter, then there'd be two different classes. But no, because at the end of the day, it really depends on the horse. Like some horses, they perform better if you have a lighter, more aerial rider, and, they don't have as much weight. Get that. But also some horses, you need someone who's a bit stronger, has a bit more muscle, especially if this horse has a lot of power and a lot of go. At the end of the day, horses are strong, big animals, and sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, the men that are taller with longer legs, they have the advantage. So it really depends on the horse, so you can see it from either way. So they kind of explained that, and I was like, come on guys, we need some like equestrian questions here. So anyway, that was really lovely. Also, little shout out to Daniel Deusser's daughter. I met her at the Rolex testimony round table, and she was there, and it was actually so sweet. I felt really, really honoured, because there were obviously all these people from all these major press outlets, and I was actually the first person that he came up to and was like, hey, can I introduce you to my daughter? She's a big fan. She watches your channel. And I was like, oh, wow, that was, I don't know, it just really made my day. I thought it was so sweet. She was really lovely as well. I chatted to her about her ponies. And then, like, I don't know, I think a lot of people see these top riders like, oh my gosh, top rider, but at the end of the day, it was like proper dad mode, like got his phone camera out, took a little photo of the two of us. And then I had to be that person to be like, hey, do you mind if we now get a photo as well? But so lovely, such a lovely guy. So yeah, just wanted to say a little shout out to him and his family. And yeah, had a very, very lovely time. So thank you to Rolex and Rolex Grand Slam for very kindly having me at that roundtable media interview morning. And then after that, it was the Rolex Grand Slam, which, can I tell you, it was, I mean, this is the class, this is the show that we were all waiting for. And when I tell you, the weather was like, we're going to make things interesting, because last year got some incredible photos on the course walk, me looking super cute in my green dress, that kind of thing. Had the most incredible dress also by Isabel Christensen ready to go. If you want to know what it looks like, I'm tell you what, I'm going to at home get some photos. I'm going to get some photos with it somewhere, and hopefully because anyway, it was a tweed dress. They had it all adjusted to fit me perfectly. It was olive green and gold. It was gorgeous. It went with the Rolex branding so well. I was going to have a photo of me in front of a Rolex jump, like that was the plan. And then the rain was so bad, and I was like, you know what? It's not going to work. I don't want to get this really, really nice dress wet either. So on went my green trench coat, which still was on brand for Rolex, was on brand for Arken, that kind of thing. But it just wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. I was going to do like air wrap my hair and have it all nice and curly and that kind of thing. No, it was slick back ponytail. It was that sort of weather. But also, I just want to say a huge thank you to Belle or Annabelle from Rolex. She gave me her Rolex umbrella to have for the course walk, and she got absolutely so. I mean, she did have her like a raincoat with a hood, and she's like, "No, girl, you need to get your good photos. I'm just here to like do the course walk with you guys." So anyway, shout out to her who gave me the Rolex umbrella, because I'd stayed very dry and I looked half decent for the photos, so thank you to her. And yeah, I mean, it was a epic competition, really, really good fun to watch. So if you ever get the opportunity to go to a Rolex Grand Slam event or show, go to it. Also, if you ever get the chance to go to Arken as well, I mean, it is, the World Equestrian Festival. It is like the biggest show I've been to. Would definitely recommend. And I just want to say a huge thank you to Arken for very kindly having me for the week. I had such a blast, such a lovely time. And also, it was so nice to just catch up with everyone, catch up with the team. And on that note, I think I'm going to finish off today's podcast episode there. I really hope you enjoyed it. I just want to say another huge thank you to Red Post for very kindly sponsoring the podcast. Go and check them out at redpostequestrian.co.uk. I almost forgot. Comment of the week. Here we go. I'm sorry, it's been a little bit all over the place. So here we go. So last week's episode, if you didn't know, it was all about the secret life of influencers and content creators, where I told you a little bit more about the behind the scenes of how my job works. And Gabrielle says, because I actually asked you guys a little question. I said, do you prefer long content or short content? Which personally, I mean, listen to me on the podcast, I love yapping away. I'm more of a long format kind of gal. So Gabrielle says, here for the long form content. I'd rather be watching your content and hear products from you, because you're way more relatable than a pro rider. Oh, I'll take that. Thank you. That's very sweet. Especially as, like, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, when people ask me, oh, why don't you compete? I'm like, I see how much work these top pro riders, I see how much work that goes into it. Like, I do not have the time for that. And she just also says, never feel like an imposter, because in last week's episode I also talked a lot about imposter syndrome. So thank you so much, Gabrielle. And then also a little another little let's say runner up for comment of the week is from Orla Spearman, and she says, I will never skip ads ever again. And 4 of you guys also reacted to that with the laughing emojis. So if you listen to last week's podcast episode, you will know. But yeah, anyway, on that note, thank you so much for listening. Thank you to everybody who made this podcast episode possible. And I'll see you all next week for another episode where I'm sure there will be more embarrassing stories, but hopefully this time less about toilets. So I apologise for that.